Broadcasting from Brooklyn, New York, this is the Brooklyn Baritone Podcast. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you are listening to this. Thank you for tuning in and checking me out. If this is the first time, I appreciate you coming to see what I'm about. Hopefully you stick around for more episodes and check out my past episodes. If this is not your first time, thank you very much for your continued support. Are we not entertained? Took that a little bit from one of the more famous movies back in the day. Are you not entertained is the actual quote. But what I want to talk about today is, are we not entertained? You get to my gist in after a few of these things I run down for you. A little bit of a history piece I want to say to you right quick. 6th century Rome. The Circus Maximus was built to house chariot races and mass entertainment. Basically, it's one of the first major known, or at least one of the major historical sites that was centered towards a mass audience. All right, it's not the first one, it's not the only one, but it's one of the more famous ones on our earth. Going forward, 70 to 80 AD. The Roman Colosseum, the famous Colosseum that many people go to every day as a tourist attraction. It was built. It was used for animal hunts, battle reenactments, a lot of drama productions, and executions. Again, continuing that culture and I guess the tradition of like powers that be providing proper entertainment what they figure was suitable for the masses, and hence we fast forward to now. But about the Circus Maximus and the Colosseum and other methods and modes of capturing the audience's attention. These were effective means to entertain and distract and better manage or control the masses. You have to think about it. An angry, free-minded citizen, a mob of angry, free-minded citizens, was a politician's and an emperor's worst nightmare. Think about that. It's much easier to control the masses because it was always a struggle to control the masses, especially, if you look at Rome or even Greek history or probably any other major nation and even today. Why is that? Because free will is a very strong thing. But then when you look at it, when you want to distract the control, it's not really free will at a certain point. But we're going to go further with this. We fast forward to today. In America, I'm using America. I know we have global statistics, but I'm using good old US of A. $23 billion were spent on home entertainment. This was in 2018. The source of this was Statista.com. I usually have a lot of statistics, but I think you have to sign up for a type of plan or membership to get more access to certain things. But anyways, $23 billion was spent on home entertainment. I mean, we're talking about going to concerts or going to movies or anything else. This is just on home entertainment. That's a lot of money. I go over a lot of statistics, especially in the past, and I'll continue to do so. So much things we spend money on because what we feel is more worth our interest and more our priority in life. I'm guilty with a lot of things too, things I spend money on and my attention on. As long as you don't get too carried away with it, when you have to understand enough about yourself and things going around you and have a little bit more priority, or at least start to develop that, then you will start to have a little bit more understanding and care and value for what you have and what you are. But I digress for that right now. I'm going to go forward. The word entertainment literally means to hold inside and to maintain, or to bring you in and hold you there. I've spoken about this before in the past, and I'm not the only person who's broken this down. Many other people have done this as well. The effective means of engaging the human attention and emotions have sparked a billion or even a $1 trillion industry that attracts an audience of billions, literally billions globally now, of talented individuals to pursue fame and money attached to that. So it attracts, this industry has successfully attracted just billions of people to garner their attention, to keep their attention, to even lock into their emotions and even goals. And then, of course, you have this lifestyle. What are they going to be attracted to? Well, it's not just going to be regular old nature, because, regular old nature is just boring for most humans. So we have to look at other people doing other feats, whether it be athletic feats, whether it be acting, dramatizations, whether it be any kind of public spectacle. These things have been engineered to keep our attentions, to get our money, to get ourselves, our livelihoods locked into these things. As I said before, for the Roman Empire, this was an effective means to entertain and distract and to better control the masses, the free-minded citizen. Okay, so it's a method to this madness, or madness to this method, both ways. It goes both ways. Well, talking about engagement with the masses and appealing to people, I came across a documentary on, I believe, the Vice channel, Vice Network, and they have a series of documentaries called, I think, Dark Side of the Ring, and they recently had one with Chris Benoit. It's now infamous. He made major headlines, not so much for his wrestling prowess, but unfortunately his demise was his own hands, and he also took the lives of his wife and his son, unfortunately. And when it was figured out what happened, everyone basically labeled him a monster. It is a monstrous and hard thing to do and to have happen. But then, as with life, what I like to do, what I don't like doing snap judgments with certain things. Whatever is told to you, whatever you're seeing, there's levels to this. There's levels to these things called life and situations. So the crazy thing is, many people figured, like, if they had to take someone out of a lineup of who would be a crazed killer to kill themselves and their own family, the flesh and blood, people figured that they wouldn't even have Chris Benoit in a lineup. How did he get here? Well, I'm about to go through that in a second. So being a wrestler, being an athlete, a professional athlete, to a degree is harder than many average Americans, average people can't handle. It's taxing on your body because you have to constantly, consistently perform. You're not just working out your body and, doing hard workout just to keep your strength up, your endurance up, your stamina, and your overall health up. That's one thing if you're doing it because you just love doing it and you're doing it to improve yourself. It's another thing where now you have to be paid to do this. You have to be recognized. You have to stand out enough to keep that check coming, to keep your face as a favored person, to whether be picked up by a team or be recognized by people. So, more notoriety, more money comes along with it, or, you can get those endorsements better. So the pressure is there. So, it's one thing to be talented, it was another thing to be drawn into this thing here. So as a professional wrestler, or as WWE likes to say, sports entertainment, which it accurately is sports entertainment, you're on the road most of the year, going from city to city, state to state, country to country. Most of the year you are away on a bus, in a rental car, on a plane, somewhere. You are going somewhere to perform, and it's, you're doing what you like because you're athletic. Most people who we usually see in the ring anyways, and there's people who are behind the scenes as well too. But to be an athlete, and it's like, not just any old athlete either, you have to be of a higher caliber of endurance and stamina, and that's taxing on your body. And then you're already on the road for most of the year, so you're not really stabilized at home. You're not seeing your family, should one of these guys have a family or whatever. And you have to perform because you are going to have a lot of bumps, a lot of bruises, a lot of hard nights. A lot of these guys, they do break up a lot, they do divorce a lot. So and basically, you're pressured to perform, because if you don't perform at a proper optimal level to, I guess, what the crowd wants or even your employer wants, you're not going to get money. You always face that pressure with much of like America, is that you're not going to be able to recover if someone takes your spot. You can't perform, no problem. We're going to get someone to perform for you. Or that's one time you couldn't make it because you're sick, you're depressed, you legit are burnt out. You always have that pressure to think, I always got to take that spot. I always got to take this spot. I always got to be a team player. It's cool to be a team player, but you have to do it for the right reasons, man. You have to make sure that you're not wearing yourself out for an entity or an industry or that check, because that check ain't loyal. When you put that work in, and you're compensated for your time and your talents, sure you get paid for it, but certain things are not loyal here. And how this culture, especially the American culture, and this type of culture has influenced the world over. If you're not able to perform at an aggressive manner all the time, then you're not cut out for it. Go on the sidelines, we'll get someone else to take your spot, and you get to watch them go to glory. Anyways, so also on top of that hard life of being, athlete and entertainer all the time, all year round, basically, you take a lot of bumps. And one unfortunate thing was he was discovered after his passing that he had CTE. CTE is chronic traumatic encephalopathy. Encephalopathy. Let's try it again. Get it right, Corey. CTE is chronic traumatic encephalopathy. There we go. So basically, that's when it could happen from one concussion, and it causes damage to your brain, where it starts to affect you psychologically, physiologically. And it's not the fact that it happens. The crazy part is that there's no cure for it. The only known cure is basically a preventative measure to not get hit in the head. To not get hit in the head. When you get hit in the head, it kind of hurts. And to me, it's a major annoyance. But imagine all those guys who are continuously making a living. You could say it's their own choice and free will, but who are they doing it for? Everyone has a hand to play in this. Think of all those guys that are getting hit in the head consistently. You can think of boxers, MMA fighters, NFL players. As a matter of fact, speaking about NFL players, that movie, Concussion, that Will Smith starred in, he portrayed a Dr. Bennett Omalu. All right, he was the Nigerian physician. He was working here in America. He was the one who pretty much got that phrase on the map. He was the one who discovered that America's favorite pastime, earning billions of dollars and millions of viewers every day that the sport is on. He discovered that there are guys that are being affected by this. As a matter of fact, post-mortem, they had, I think, over 200, corpses they used of NFL players, and looked at their brains, and over 100 of them had CTE from getting hit in the head over and over and over again. And these things affects people's moods. It affects your character. Okay, so if something could affect your mood and affect your character, then you are changed. And it was against your will, because more than likely, most of these guys who went through these changes didn't want to have these changes. These changes, unfortunately, were negatively impacting their lives. Because can you imagine the people around them seeing the change? And it wasn't like, it made them a little bit more humble or nothing like that. No, it made them a lot more irate, a lot more unstable. Okay, so going back to Chris Benoit and his tragedy. And much people just marked it off, said he's a monster, he should never be mentioned ever again. But he was an entertainer. He was athletic. He was skilled. But just like one of them, it brings me in mind one of those other documentaries, I think Better, Stronger, Faster, I believe, and talks about the use of steroids and the hypocrisy of steroids, of how everyone wants a champion. Everyone wants a guy who's really great. Now, there are really talented people out there. But then if you are lumped into that, I can make a living for this, or this is what I like to do, and this happens to turn professional or semi-professional, you're going to have to perform. Sure, you could practice and practice and practice, but then this is why a lot of guys get caught with steroids. And that's part of the things that Chris Benoit did. He used steroids to perform because he's on the spot, on live performance. Anyways, I'm not trying to dismiss this is what he did, but then at the same time, he wasn't himself. And I always say, you have to know your talents and your abilities. You have to know yourself. The only way you really can know yourself is you spend time with yourself, developing yourself. The best way there is to know yourself is to know where you come from. I will never, ever get tired of saying this, and I'll never stop saying this. We all come from Elohim, a creator. Same creator that made all this order for us to live. The same creator that makes the gravity where people can make benches to sit on, because I know the gravity is going to do its job. Hence the bench and the table here, holding my equipment, is going to do its job. He has order. We have order instilled in us, but we also have talents. We also have much more value than this current world gives us credit for. This world here, unfortunately, got infected with people wanting to control people, with people being swayed by money, people being swayed by pride and ego and fame. So when now you have someone who likes doing something, but then it's like, I got to make money off of it, unfortunately, if they're not super confident in themselves or strong in themselves, they will easily be swayed by the ways of this world. And much of this world has forgotten where we come from. That's very direct. Even people who do know about the Creator and even have a certain respect and love and care for him, I still have so much more to learn about myself to make sure I'm not swayed by my own misjudgments or own cracks in character. So when you have people who are used to just going to work and that's what they do, you could always put the blame on them, but at the same time, who taught them this? This is a society that made people like Chris Benoit go on the road, take all types of risks to their health and their body and their mindset, for what? For entertainment. Again, I say I'm always part of that too. A lot of things I don't partake in anywhere near as much, but there's still things that I do watch and do, but it's not anywhere near again. So it's a process. Some people, as soon as they find out the dark side of these things, they shut it off automatically because they know they don't want to be part of that. They don't want to be part of this thing, that's helping to destroy people as opposed to building them up. So, you got the pressures being on the road, you have pressure to perform, and then you have CTE. And this man has suffered many concussions, for the sake of our enjoyment. Everyone who was a wrestling fan who watched him over and over again and paid money. Unfortunately, it's the truth. It's what it is. And because of this now, and of course on top of that, his best friend, Eddie Guerrero, who was also covered in that documentary, two wrestlers I know very well, he passed away, and that was his anchor for this world, unfortunately. And when he died, his best friend died, a part of him died too. But then again, the life on the road and the consistent concussions of not really getting some sort of treatment or recognizing it back then, that was more than enough to make this horrific end. Other NFL players had horrific ends too because of CTE. Why do they have CTE? Because they kept getting hit in the head over and over again, getting concussions. One concussion is no joking matter. Just getting hit in the head one time we're not made for that. And why do they get hit in the head over and over again? Because America, this world, wants to see that. We want to be entertained. Why do we want to be entertained? Because we want to be distracted. And the crazy part is, Entertainment is a massive religion with billions of tithers. You understand what I'm saying? I know many people criticize churches and religious organizations, but you don't understand what religion is. It's pretty much an organization of people with a common goal to share and promote their beliefs. And there's people who believe in these teams. There's people who will wear these teams' colors. This team never paid one of their bills ever in life, but they're wearing the team's colors. These team members aren't their family members, but they're wearing their colors. They're going to their games. These teams never said, we're going to buy this guy a house because he is a loyal fan. No, they don't do that. They basically take your money. Yeah, these people who are part of these industries, not just sports, but entertainment in general, with movies, with TV, social media, radio, whatever it is. These people have billions of tithers every single day. And it's one thing when people do state that they don't want to go to a church, or they don't believe in a creator or the creator of the Bible, and people are very judgmental over, people who are supposed to be Christian, or at least people who followers of any kind of faith. They don't realize they're a part of a faith too. And as opposed to really understanding where we come from, our Father, what true love is about, what true order is about, and the true value that you have to bring to this world, not what the world tells you should value or what you should be, but coming from the manufacturer. The manufacturer of us is going to tell us, and to the only capacity of how we are supposed to be, the best versions of ourselves, and how we impact our family and people and the world around us. But at the same time, many people who don't want to learn about that part of themselves or their lives and the life around them, they'll be quick to discount all of this. They'll go back to their favorite rapper. They go back to their favorite athlete, their favorite ball player. They'll go back to their favorite TV show. They'll go back to that thing that distracts their mind. They go back to that thing that gives them that temporary feel good. Hence why people binge watch. I've binge watched. And then many people have felt a way when seasons are over or series are over, then after a while you just move on. But then, if you don't really get to a point where you're really constructive about yourself, or you're not really doing anything past trying to go for a 9 to 5, you can have goals again, you get a house, but remember, many responsibilities come with a house with more free will. The more free will you have and you understand it, the more responsibility you have. So, for people who are used to living in apartment buildings, you can't call in a super anymore to come fix something. That's all you. You either got to become a handyman, which is very much advised to do, or you kick out, a good amount of money for someone to come handle these things for you. The free will is a very, very valuable asset that we have. It helps us to maximize our life and time. Those are the two important things I always say that we have in our life is life and time. But once you understand your free will to get yourself hunkered down, there's so much things that I know I still want to learn, so much things that I know I need to improve on, but there's things that I know I can do well, and I take pride in that. Because when I do apply these things and focus, that fulfillment with actually doing something or having something done, you can't beat that. You can't beat that. And it's going past the adoration of others, going past being recognized. And unfortunately, so many people want to be recognized because they feel that society and this culture gives us value. No, we give value to everything around us. It's not the other way around. We already have value in us. We don't need culture. We don't need entertainment. We don't need money. We don't need these things to give us value. You hear these beautiful birds chirping around me and the ducks honking in the back. They may not have opposable thumbs. They may not have high-speed internet. They may not have heated seats in their vehicles, or a vehicle at that. But they're happy. They're happy. Our Creator says the birds in the field don't worry about getting provided for. You should never worry about these things either. Don't let life stress you. Stop being distracted. You need to get in contact with yourself and the Creator and the Father to understand where we come from. Many people may not resonate with me on that because they have their reservations, which I totally understand. I was there at one point. Everybody is at a certain point in their lives of understanding and discernment and acceptance of certain things. It may not be for people altogether because some people just won't accept it. I understand it and I get it. But I'm glad that many people have not cast me away. I am grateful to wake up every day. I am grateful to be able to do this here in front of you. I'm able to go to work. I'm able to do many things many people cannot, many things that I've probably taken for granted, but I don't. Again, you can't allow yourself to be distracted from yourself and your true purpose. And unfortunately, these are a lot. This represents a lot of just some of the effects, the negative impacts of entertainment, our distractions, our vices. These are the things that are not talked about because when they do happen, people are saying, oh, well, it's just that person. Oh, it's just only that instance. Well, there's people who end up getting broke, people who end up getting destroyed, people whose bodies get damaged, people's livelihoods just get twisted because of our need and insatiable appetite for entertainment. You have to ask yourself, are we entertained? You have to make sure you entertain the right thoughts in you. Build yourself up. Anyways, hopefully I made you think. Hopefully I stepped on some toes. Hopefully, I sparked some sort of change or your want to go do research on yourself. Don't ever take my word alone on these things. If anything, use it as a catalyst. Fact check me if you want to. You could do all these things, but just don't take my word for it. I want you to grow because I want to grow. I always want to grow. There's so much time I felt I wasted, but you know what? I have an opportunity every day, thank the Father, to wake up and do this and do me. Do this whole world, right? I know my friend Mr. Martin's gonna have a field day with that. Anyways, you can always catch my podcast on my website at www.brooklynbaritone.com. You can also catch me on my YouTube site. My channel is Brooklyn Baritone. I am also on Instagram and I am on Facebook. You can also catch these podcasts on the Google Play Store and the Apple iTunes Play Store. Anyways, walk good, everybody. I love you all. Take care. Be blessed. You will hear from me next week, Father providing. Make sure you stay safe out there, too. Do what you got to do. Drink your ginger tea with lemon if you can, and make sure you hydrate well. Make sure you do your exercises. Stay healthy. The best way to fight any major infection and virus is to make sure you are healthy inside and outside. Do what we should have been doing already. These are the things we should have been doing. That's what I always say. Make sure you're healthy enough mentally and physically. You can be good. Believe me, we're made for tough. We're made God tough. You just don't realize it. Anyways, I'm out. Talk to you guys next week.